सबसे बड़े सेलिब्रिटीज कभी कभी उनके खुद के प्रोडक्ट के टिकट नहीं बेच पाते हैं. माई व्यू ऑन बिल्डिंग अ कंज्यूमर बिजनेस is completely isolated from celebrity or not. Sport for me has been everything. Sport is what got me acquainted with Ranveer. And this colleague of mine, Lipika, is like, listen, why are we complicating this? There's you and there's SuperYou. And protein makes you SuperYou. You know, as a Marwadi, it's very tough to spend money on things like brand logo and identity, right? And it was the best decision I made. Definitely spend time on brand. Everything is consumed with the eyes and the mind first, and then with everything else. There's this line कि अच्छा और बुरा बात की बात है, बात होनी चाहिए.
So today we have done a very good healthy menu.
Nikunj Biyani, welcome to the Pressure Room. First and foremost, thank you for signing up. The whole idea about doing something like this was to try and show a young India that regardless the chaos in your lives, every one of us can take out 20 to 30 minutes to invest in themselves, which is exactly what you did. You did a workout called Agony. How was it? Let's just start with that. And then right after that, what I want from you in the next couple of hours is for everybody to see a side of Nikunj that they have not heard of, they have not seen. So it's all you. And I'm just someone who's going to be quizzing you to get to know more of you, especially around sport, fitness, health, and wellness.
Yeah, awesome. Firstly, thank you for having me. This was like I said, I've not done podcasts, etc. ever. So this was very different and a lot of fun.
First one, by the way. Yes, we have.
To start with
his first podcast with us.
To start with a workout was epic. Right. It kind of just gets the blood flowing. And I love it. So I'm an early bird. So first thing in the morning, get a workout in. Doesn't get better than that. People don't know anything about me. So this should be easy. Everything I say will be new to people. But coming to how the workout was, I had a great time. Hectic. I knew because I've done Devil Circuit, I've met you before, I knew that I'm in for something that's going to be a little bit harder than my regular workout. But it's just the dopamine you get after that makes it worth it. The endorphins that come in. In the workout, all you're feeling is agony. And I think tomorrow morning, if you ask me this, I'll say something different. I'll probably be saying, Arey yaar, Adnan, what did he do?
So, you know, what has sport taught you, right? You play football, you are a huge Messi fan.
Yeah.
You follow Argentina, the shirt you were wearing this morning. You hate my club, Chelsea. But it is what it is. But because you play sport, you're part of 99% of India that plays recreational sport. What do you think sport teaches you, which you can't get in a business school, for example?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, like for me, sport has been everything. Good days, bad days, everything ends up in a sport. Like I cannot imagine what life would be without it. So to give you context, when I'm saying sport, I include everything, meaning everything from playing chore police as kids to playing hopscotch, because I was super competitive even at hopscotch, to then obviously falling in love with cricket, football. I did everything. So swimming, badminton, tennis. I'll tell you a quick backstory. So tennis was my first love. At the age of 7, 8, I'd started playing. At the age of 12, one of my coaches where I used to play, he'd pick 2 kids to say that, the both of you should homeschool and spend 6 to 7 hours coaching because I see a little potential in y'all. So maybe you'll be able to do something. Imagine being at 12 saying you have the potential to make it in sport and you'll have to homeschool, so no school. And at that point, no school was a big, big incentive, right?
True.
So I went to my parents and I called them actually, sorry. I called them and I told my coach ki aap inko bolo. Hindi is okay?
Yeah.
So I said, aap inko bolo. And the coach said ki, 2 ladke hai, I think aapko karna chahiye. And then obviously Marwadi business family. And I don't blame them at all. They just didn't see it, right? Like risk to reward, what's the future, etc. So unfortunately, I dropped it. And that was probably the only thing I regret in life. Because I just wanted that one feeling of like going pro in something, just in any way. Even now, my dream is like, even if it's pickleball at the age of 40 or 50, I'll go pro at some point. So sport for me has been everything, right? From day zero.
So tennis?
Everything.
Hopscotch?
Tennis, table tennis, badminton. So I had this thing where I would pick up a sport and anyone in my circle, if they were better than me, I'd catch hold of them and play against them. For a week, 10 days, I'd keep losing because they were better than me. And then I'd sit down and watch YouTube videos. I'd watch like professionals play. I'd practice in my sleep. And then by the 10, 15, whatever, maybe it took me a month sometimes, I'd beat them. But I'd make sure that I get to the point that I beat them and then maybe switch over to the next sport. So I've always been flirtatious, let's call it, with sports. True love has been like football that's been around. My brother and I, Keshav and I, we used to live right next to each other in an apartment. And there was like this tiny area, I'd say like 50 square foot or lesser. And we used to play test match cricket, 2 people for 5 days.
5 days.
4 hours. And there's like barely any space. So you're playing like underarm, but we just be at it. So we've just done this stuff like forever. Obviously, early on, I don't know like what it taught me, because it was just love. There was nothing else to it. But now, I mean, when I reflect on it, I think it's therapy for me. It's the only thing that probably keeps me sane. And my wife says this to me as well. Right? So she's like, if you're having a bad day, just please go play football and then we'll talk. Because otherwise, it's a mess.
So what you just said, right? I mean, I love that trait about you, that the person who's beating you, instead of not wanting to play him again, you're playing him again and again and again, right? And looking at YouTube videos and learning and improving your game because at the end you want to win. So have you seen that play out in today, Nikunj, the business person who's trying to build an amazing brand in a space that is already very crowded?
So early on, and again, I can reflect on it now, but I think early on it came from an immature space. It was just boy adrenaline, or call it whatever you want, right? Like 13, 14-year-old. So that time I was just like, I want to be better. That's it. It didn't reflect in anything else. In fact, if anything, it was a little too much, right? Because I used to get obsessed. But I think now when I reflect on it, now there's a little bit more maturity where it's not just about beating somebody, but it's about what are you taking out of it, right? So there's this beautiful example. I don't know if you've seen the movie Rush.
No.
Okay, so you must watch it. It's about 2 Formula One drivers, and they both have starkly opposite personalities, right? So one's this playboy, fame, and this and that, and one's an artist. Like he's disciplined and cares
Focused.
about every single thing, right? And the movie essentially shows that the playboy character types, he did win. He did win one championship because for that one championship, he gave it everything. And he was happy with that because that's how he wanted his life to be. And then the other fellow, just for some reason, the names aren't coming to me right now, was a champion continuously. And he had this really bad accident, came back from it, but he was so diligent, right? And he lived his life in a certain way. And the beauty of that movie is that the 2 of them were insanely competitive. They wanted to kill each other at all points. But it ends with saying that they brought out the best of both of them. Like they both would have not accomplished what they actually did if it wasn't for
the
each
other
other,
person. Yeah.
right? So I actually look at it very differently now. It's just about there's a healthy way of looking at competition. It's not only about kind of getting better, but I think it became about what can you learn from someone who's doing something really, really well. And my dad always said, right, like you'll meet millions of people. Everyone has good things and bad things about them. So there is no sort of perfect person, right? The art that you should develop is take the good. You know, like too many times we end up focusing on, hey, this guy's like this, or, you know, yes, admi hai types. But that's okay. Everyone has their quirks. I have my own quirks. We're all good and bad, right? To some people. And then since then, I've kind of got a more mature view of this. And I think obviously in business, in trying to build a new age consumer brand, all of this helps. It helps to have this to reflect on.
So most people perhaps don't know, but you studied in Bombay.
Yeah.
The Ambani school?
Yeah.
On the Ambani school, and then off to England,
Yeah,
came
London for
back,
3 years.
joined the Future Group.
Yeah.
What an amazing brand, by the way, a company that, you know, your uncle and your father and you know, all three of them built.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I used to work in Dubai and I used to look at the India story, and you would hear about Mr. Biyani and, you know, your uncle and your father. And I was like amazement because they built it into that amazing scale.
Yeah.
So you were part of that, and then things happened, and you know,
Correct.
and there's probably a lot of learnings for every one of us
Yeah.
from you. But
Yeah.
if we were to go back and ask you, you know, what happened, but now to be able to create a new product,
Yeah.
because I think Future Group, you had multiple brands, you know, your own in-house and other brands, but now you're building your own brand.
Yeah.
So first, you know, how's that change? Number two, how did you come up with such a cool name? Because there was thin line between cringe and cool.
Yeah.
You know, Superman, this, and SuperYou. I think SuperYou is fantastic. It sort of connects with me because when I push people at my races, I say it's you versus you.
Yeah.
You know, and the best version is still ahead.
Yeah.
So well done on that. But so just want to understand, you know, how's that change been like for you? How did you come up with that name?
Yeah.
Where is this journey today? Where is it going 3 to 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And beyond?
So, so I went to London for 3 years, did a BSc in management there, came back, and I always knew I wanted to join the family business because it would allow me like a very quick learning curve, right? So when I joined, I spent the longest time working at stores in Big Bazaar. And I still say that was the most exciting time, like ever. Working in stores was like a different thrill. Because you're selling to consumer then and there. You're learning so many things on the job. So that was definitely the most exciting time. And then obviously Future Group was at a very, very large scale. So what we were doing was extremely exciting. But there were a lot of professionals involved, big teams. And, like a good parallel is it was a cruise versus what we're doing right now is like a speedboat, right? So that had its own challenges and its own opportunities and its own excitement. And like super, super blessed to have that opportunity because that opportunity is what taught me everything. Everything that I know about the business that I'm in, which is FMCG, food FMCG. But that was obviously very different because such a big company, you're working with so many people and you're navigating things very differently. Now, it's like a 360 shift. But having said that, the principles remain the same, right? So I don't think there's change in how you view the business as such. Because what you've learned still remains true. You know, you've got to solve for consumer. You've got to have a deep understanding of what the consumer is looking for, a deep understanding of India, and that at the core of it doesn't change, right? And then how do you build moats, this, that around the business? So the theory is the same. Just working with smaller teams, now thinking that like earlier if you made a screw up, right? it would pass under the carpet, right? Now it's in your face all day. And back then, obviously, right, like you could, I don't know how to say this, but you could get away with few things because just the business was so big. So like, let's say if a product SKU didn't work, right? We had this idea, launched the product, turns out it was rubbish. It's okay. Nothing happened, right? Life continues. You learned, you move on. Now, today, if you feel like you made a mistake on product, I get very jittery, right? Because the bet you're taking is at a smaller scale, so it's way more valuable. So early bets in early stages can make or break companies,
Yeah,
right?
I like the analogy you just said, no, cruise ship
Yeah,
and a speedboat. So you could be serving, I don't know, a new form of dessert
Yeah.
in one of the hotels, restaurants in the cruise ship.
Correct.
It didn't work, no problem. But
Absolutely.
you did it on a speedboat, it's like chaos, like because
yeah.
people are just
Because
complaining.
everyone's there and they're telling you straight, like you're only driving the speedboat, there's no one
Yeah.
else. So I think that is definitely a change. But it's a very, very exciting change.
How did you
I'll
come up with the
be-
name? I have to ask. I mean, I
Yeah.
love the name, man. It's
Yeah.
just amazing.
So I'll just add one thing quickly. Like when I was starting to build SuperYou and stuff, at that point everyone's like, oh, light at the end of the tunnel, and whatever happens, happens for the better. And when you hear all these things, you're like, yeah, sabko pata hai, ye gyan, malab, don't tell me, right? Because you're so close to hearing it. But then somewhere or the other, you just feel like, okay, at some point, those lines have held true because people have experienced it multiple times, right? Like the universe has its way. So I think it's just something that you either can choose to believe in because it gives you some sense of comfort or discard it, right? So we at least chose to believe in it. And I think that's what led to this. So I didn't come up with the name.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a colleague of mine, her name's Lipika. She came up with the name, but there's a crazy story to this.
Right.
So we kept throwing names at each other. I loved this name called 1%.
1%.
Yeah. And I was so convinced, I wrote like this whole manifesto of it, and I sent it to everyone. Ranveer really liked the name Mindset because he was like, that's everything. Everything is about the mindset. Mindset to subset. That was his thing. And I don't know where we all just kept feeling that it's not hitting the nail on the head. So we started with names like Todford, Inferno, Y Particle, like all these absurd things. And then after like a lot of going back and forth, we're doing this one call, which was about something else. And this colleague of mine, Lipika, is like, listen, why are we complicating this? Why can't it just be simple? Yeah, like there's you and there's SuperYou. And protein makes you SuperYou, right? Because protein is the fuel that you need from inside. If you feel good from the inside, you can do anything in life. That's the fundamental belief. And I remember there were like 5 people on the call and in the room. Everyone's like, okay. Like, no one has ever agreed to one name.
Right.
No one, ever, right? And then we set up a meeting with Ranveer. And we were like, listen, I think we have only 2 name options. This meeting will not end until we say we're going ahead with one name. Because we've been beating around the bush forever. So it's, whatever happens, we're leaving this meeting with a name. We started and we went, there's either SuperYou or the Y particle. Now it's a different thing that the alternate was so bad in hindsight. And Ranveer's first reaction was, it's either SuperYou or it's nothing.
Wow.
So, like, this is it. Now legal, wo Nikunj, you figure out, right? But I want the brand to be called SuperYou. So it was pretty crazy. It was by chance to a
Amazing.
great
I think,
extent.
yeah, and then your the branding
Yeah.
is so simple.
Yeah.
There's no logo as such.
Yeah.
There's no mnemonic.
Yeah.
You've just got SuperYou, right?
Correct.
And I think it connects with anyone and everyone who wants to raise their own personal game.
Yeah.
So So
So
that's
by the way,
what a story.
The only other thing to this is that the company is called Mindset though.
Okay.
It's called Elite Mindset.
Okay.
Because we still believe that mindset is everything.
Right.
Right. So the company is called Elite Mindset because mindset wasn't available, and the brand's called SuperYou. That's the backstory. Our good friends, again, shout out to them. Co-design. They're based out of Delhi. Rajesh and Mohar. They did the design work for us. and I don't know how this is gonna sound, but you know, as a Marwadi, it's very tough to spend money on things like brand logo and identity, right? Because you keep thinking in your head, क्या हो जाएगा यार? मतलब ठीक ही है. You know, like spend 2-3 lakhs or freelancer and get it done for cheap. And we spent a lot more on this, significantly more.
Right.
And I was so nervous, but I was like, I'm gonna do this once in my life. I had one of those days where I was like, you only live once and you only build once and things like that. So I was like, ठीक है यार, कर लेते हैं. Like, let's just take that leap of faith. And it was the best decision I made.
Besides the money bit, also there is also this issue of connecting with a creative agency.
Yeah.
And working to their timeline.
Yeah.
Because
Correct.
you know, as entrepreneurs, saying, boss, यार कल दे दो. No,
Yeah.
no, it'll take us 3 weeks. And you're thinking, यार एक नाम है, इसमें इतना time क्यों लगेगा, right? But you know, you can't force these things. So I don't know if they did a quick turnaround or.
So I was a little lucky where they had already done some work with my cousin, and they'd done some work with our marketing team previously.
Right.
So there was enough conviction to say that, look, we're going in good hands. Now, whatever the output is, the output will be. Right? Like you could go to, there are many good agencies. So we were confident of that and, you know, high conviction there. When we started the process, again, like this is the first time I'm actually doing this whole thing now, reflecting on it, right? So when we started the process, these guys had presented to us like 5 options, okay? There was one which was like this classic SuperYou with a cape, going into the Superman thing. And then there were these others. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The current logo was option 5. I was in love with option 3. And then most other people were in love with option 5. So I was like, अरे यार ये क्या हो रहा है? मुझे तो option 3 अच्छा लगता है. But what happened was, I liked option 5, but we just felt, is this too close to Supreme? Or is this too close to Superdry? And obviously at that point you're overthinking everything, right? But I'm lucky we had like Kishore uncle, and there's this other person who's involved with us, Santosh Desai, from Future Brands. And just they have a very zoomed out view, right? I was too zoomed in. So I'm full of my biases, etc. And they were like, look, this is it. It is standout. Don't overthink it. But I obviously overthought it. So even after finalizing it, I went to the team and said, ये देखो, इसका logo तो ऐसे है, इतना close है, you know, what about this, what about that, what's so different in it? And then, like, Rajesh and all were very, very patient with me, very patient. And then we sat down, understood everything. So there's only one thing about the logo that's very interesting. It's a classical font. They just tilted it in to give it that feeling of largeness, because that's what the brand is all about. And they used red again, and the S and the U get cut off. So the S and the U aren't complete. There's just a bit of that that's cut off. For a lot of people, when they see it, they think it's a printing mistake. But it's actually done very consciously to say, live life so large that you don't fit inside a box. So there's always a bit of you that's out of the box. And this was so beautiful, because that's what like Ranveer's brand personality has been, right? Like he is out of the box. He's not conventional in any manner. So just being able to incorporate those things, I think at that point felt amazing. Having said that, when you see things on a PPT, you get only that convinced. It's very tough. Until we made our first mock, and I saw that mock in my hands, and I was like, bro, this looks insane. I remember Ranveer also called me when he saw that mock, and he was like, boss, what is this? This looks like it's from Europe or the US or something like that. And at this price point, like, wow. And it's very unconventional. Sorry, I'm going on a rant, but
please,
quick one. Like in FMCG packaging, and because we studied so much of this, right? So like my brain was wired to say, this much space to brand, you need to call out product, show product in a certain way. This was breaking all those rules. 75% of the product's packaging and the space, the surface area, was taken only by the brand. So the name of the product is so small. I was like, "Are ye bikega kaise?" Means how will people see it? You know, how will they register it? The claims, which is the main reason, right? 10 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, no added sugar. it's so small. But it just felt so right. I don't know how to explain it.
No,
that we just
sometimes
took that leap of faith.
So if there are budding entrepreneurs who want to build a product in the D2C space, what's the learning or the advice you want to give to them when it comes to coming up with the name of the product?
Yeah.
Coming up with who the brand ambassador should be if you want one. Who should be the creative individual or the agency? I mean, do you need one or not? Or, because I would also go with that mindset, yeah, why spend so much money and use Chat GPT today and come up with something?
Correct.
So what's that advice you want to give to somebody who wants to create something for, again, a consumer in India?
Yeah.
How important is this?
So I'd promised myself that if I ever do podcasts, I won't give advice. Because I'll tell you why also. Because I have a view that
don't give
anyone,
give a perspective.
Yeah,
give
I'll give perspective that anyone can make anything work. So there are examples of logos that are rubbish and companies have made them work. There are examples of companies that have done a lot of work on brand and have made that work. And there's examples of people who probably used a freelancer kid, paid 10,000 rupees and got
Nike.
a logo and it's worked.
Nike.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of examples.
Right.
I think people just look at it like, Steve Jobs, right? You connect the dots back while looking back and then say, okay, this worked or this not. The only thing I will say is that if you're building in consumer, definitely spend time on brand. Because like the way consumers perceive things, right? It makes a big difference because like we were discussing earlier, everything first plays out in the mind, right? Everything is consumed with the eyes and the mind first and then with everything else. So in my opinion, it's worth spending time, money, skill, resource, whatever you want to call it, on brand and don't necessarily need to rush into it. That I have very high conviction in now. But each to their own. You can make it work even if you want to spend 10,000 rupees or you want to go the whole mile. I think it depends on what stage you're at and what kind of bet you want to take.
The reason I was saying this, Nikunj, is because we're the youngest nation on the planet, 28 years young. We have, I think, the highest population of Gen Zs anywhere in any country. We are also a young, growing nation where communities and preferences are coming together, especially around product choices. Like, in my office, the average age is 25. Right? I have kids from good backgrounds, privileged backgrounds, all across, right? But they've got personal choices which are very unique and different in the sense they could go and buy a Nike sneaker, but they're buying Comet and they're buying Lucid and they're buying Gully Labs and I'm asking them, why? And they're saying, because they talk to us, and it was something, as a dinosaur, who's now in his 5th decade. I find that very interesting and exciting. So while I also hate giving advice or taking advice because I think, one has to go with what their gut and their heart says, there's also some element of experience that comes from trying something before someone else and using that and saying, hey, you know what, I did this, you may or may not want to listen, but this could perhaps help you. So that was the idea.
Like my advice would be that there are certain codes that you follow. Like for example, in the food industry, let's say you were selling something of strawberry, right? You cannot put green on the color. You just cannot, right? It's completely wrong.
Right.
So there are certain codes. But if I was to use my own advice to myself basis my experience, this SuperYou wouldn't be the way it is. Because my learning was you have to give X amount of space to the name so that on the shelf consumer should be able to see everything very clearly without like batting an eyelid.
Right.
The product should look appetizing because it's food, right? So you want it to be like, oh, ye mujhe kharidna hai, right? We didn't do any of that.
Right.
So it's so counterintuitive, right? And funnily enough, now we can say that seems to work, right? Because it also helped us establish the brand so well, right? Because now you're like, oh, I want to eat SuperYou. No one says I want to eat a protein wafer, in a sense.
Correct.
So I think that helps. But again, it's counterintuitive.
I get what you're saying.
Both could have worked, and both could not have worked also.
So like you also have a celebrity partner. He's not just a brand ambassador. So how's that experience been? You know, getting Ranveer as a partner in the business versus just being the face.
Yeah.
Because a lot of brands have faces, but it doesn't necessarily push the product to a customer. So, what is the story of Ranveer? Was it because you guys were playing basketball, your neighbors,
Yeah,
you
so-
connected? Like,
You asked me about like sport, and it's so crazy because sport is what got me acquainted with Ranveer. Because like, come COVID, we ended up living coincidentally. Obviously, luck plays a massive role in all of this. That we ended up living in the same society and residential area, and he also loves sports. And by the way, if not more than me, he is at least as competitive.
Right.
Right. So we in COVID ended up playing a lot of sports together. A bunch of us in the building, we played a lot of basketball. Basketball was number one, I think. Played a lot of football, played some pickleball, things like that. And so even before I had this idea, I actually got acquainted with him just as someone who plays sports.
Right.
And we used to have like these fierce battles on the court.
Same team or opposing team?
Most often opposite teams.
Right.
Most often.
Right.
Because he's a tank, man. Like he's a beast.
So I know you're left back in football.
Yeah.
He's a striker.
He's all mid types.
Right.
Again, he's an Arsenal
Yeah.
supporter.
He's an Arsenal
So he also has that whole.
Yeah, I
Call it
mean, the
tiki-taka
last time
or
Arsenal
whatever.
won something, he must have been when he was probably in his diapers, right? Because it's like 30 years ago. 'Cause-
I will
Yeah,
avoid
I mean,
commenting on that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of my friends
Yeah.
support Arsenal and we keep like taking the piss of them on that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, coming back to it, connected over a game of basketball.
Right.
And then became acquainted through that. The best part of all of this was it was so like organic in a sense because after a game there would be banter on our group where we're all like, oh, this player played like this and this guy was rubbish and he would shit on us, we would shit on him, we'd shit on others, everyone would shit on us. Like it was just non-stop, right? And then like in the midst of this, I was figuring out like what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I had come up with this concept. It wasn't called SuperYou. It was just this rough idea of what I wanted to do, which was build in the food space. And then
Not necessarily in protein. Like,
no, it wasn't even specifically protein then. It was like this better for you food space.
Okay.
I wanted to be there with this idea of like, the one thing I knew was I wanted to build something that would be fun, like energetic, lifestyle, vibrant, etc., etc.
Right.
But honestly, all of these were loose thoughts. And then I was doing some research and I realized like to build brands today, you need massive top funnel. In India, for whatever reasons, typically calling it celebrity brands have not worked much. But I was like, okay, I think I have a different thought on this. And I'm not doing this as, like you said, like a celebrity face or anything. So our conversation didn't go through an agent or anything. I put this deck together. At some point, I'll show it to you. It said, it started with something saying like a crazy opportunity.
right.
I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. and it just said Ranveer Singh equals energy.
Right.
And we should build something that would own that space and leverage it because that's what your brand is. Like singularly, that's what your brand is. And there was like one slide which was just a photo. There was no text. I had not put any text. It was just Ranveer Singh photo equals energy. It was some battery, right? And it said, I have some ideas, would love to discuss. And then the last one was a GIF saying, let's ball, right? Of Drake. So I told Ranveer once that, look, I have this idea, would love to kind of discuss it. And he was like, हाँ, मुझे भेजो, and whatever. And then I still remember this day, okay? It's crazy. So there was a Arsenal game, Champions League game at night. But Champions League games means 1:30.
Yeah.
I go to bed early. So I've sent it to him and obviously I'm a little bit anxious. Yeah? I'm like, I don't know, likes it, doesn't like it, etc. And then I sent it and I was like, I'm going to stay up. And this is for the life of me, I couldn't, right? So I went to sleep at 10:30. And then obviously he saw it late because I'm assuming he was, I'm pretty sure he was staying up towards the Arsenal game. And then he replied to me at an odd hour in the morning, and I saw it, and he was like, "Dude, this is super exciting, Nick," and then electric, and stuff like that. And that's when like things really started moving. And I was always very clear from day one that this is not a brand endorsement. Like in all my conversations with him, with the team, it wasn't that, because this was a 0 to 1. Even he was taking a risk of being a part of a 0 to 1 versus he'd have several opportunities on the table of doing things that were at 10 to 100, right? Or 100 to 1000 in that case as well. So even he was very, I think he had high conviction in the idea. And then we spent some time getting to know us besides the basketball court. And then like things just started moving and taking
I mean,
shape.
that's extremely progressive
Yeah.
from his perspective, because
Absolutely.
so many of the celebrities I know are spoiled for choice for just being a face and
Yeah.
saying X amount of money for one day, X
Yeah.
amount of money for 2 days, and there's no skin in the game.
Yeah.
And when I look at the opportunities, for example, that they're missing, and kudos for Ranveer, even though he's a Arsenal supporter, a lot of respect for him. But when I look at the opportunity, I think what people are missing is, if you look at the US, you look at Ryan Reynolds, you look at Mark Wahlberg, you look at The Rock. These guys have all built, even George Clooney in alcohol, they built billion-dollar brands on the power of who they represent by being in it, by the skin in the game.
Yeah.
And I think if people saw that there is a similar opportunity in India, I think many more people would sign up. I don't know, what do you think is holding them back?
So, okay, I have a slightly contrarian point of view. You probably name like 7, 8 names, and let's assume in the US there's 20 other names. The US market is 20, 30, 40, 50 times bigger, right? The probability of success there to a certain extent is higher just from a numbers perspective because of the market also being there, right? What you've not taken the names of is the other 90% in the US who did try this and failed. Right? So, look, at the end of the day, my view on building a consumer business is completely isolated from celebrity or not. The consumer only cares about one thing, which is what is the end product, right? And what is the brand, and do I want to be associated with that brand, and do I want to consume that product? I often say this, and I know it's going to sound a little cliched, which is the only celebrity in Ranveer and my business is the product. Ranveer is a person who's a celebrity who has a massive reach in India, which can be leveraged in a beautiful manner. But the ultimate hero of this business, right, specifically for the brand, is the product.
So when we were doing the workout this morning and doing the burpee broad jump, there were a couple of things that you were, right? So
Exactly.
Which is around the product, right? So gross margin.
Somebody, I'll tell you something. Somebody told me this line just when I was starting, and that line stuck with me. He said, "Nikunj, एक चीज याद रखना, सबसे बड़े celebrities, right? कभी कभी उनके खुद के प्रोडक्ट के टिकट नहीं बेच पाते हैं." So people who get into this thinking, I've got celebrity X, they'll post one thing, brand ban gaya, and people will flock and buy, right? I think that's where the cookie crumbles.
Correct.
Because actually the celebrity is getting you awareness, which is what in D2C terms is top of funnel. But beyond that, the product is doing all the heavy lifting. So Kishore uncle has this saying that, the earth is made up of 5 elements, and if even one element goes out of balance, everything goes for a toss.
Right.
And it's the same belief here. So if we're building a business, there's got to be 5, 6, 7 pieces of the puzzle that need to come together. Only if all really come together does that get you momentum and like an opportunity to present something to the consumer in a certain manner. So if you take product out of the picture, you're likely to fail. If we had taken Ranveer out of the picture, maybe we wouldn't have gotten the same awareness, the same brand, the same reach that we have today, right? If you took distribution out of the picture, it would all just be marketing and nothing else. If you took pricing out of the picture, maybe the product taste wouldn't matter, right? So fundamentally what I believe is consumer business cares about, okay, I've now heard that there's this thing called SuperYou. But I only care if the product is good. If the product isn't good, what do I care?
Yeah, does it taste good? Is the price right?
So
Is
imagine
it
na,
available in my neighborhood?
If a big celebrity, sometimes unki bhi picture nahi chalti
हाँ.
because the product may not be good,
Right.
As per the public's perception.
Yes. I forgot to ask you one question, right? So by the way, I'm a big fan of what your family built. And 15 or 18 years ago, when I used to work in tech, I used to travel a lot. And I was sitting in a business lounge in Dubai. And who's sitting next to me is KB, your uncle, and he's on the phone. And he's so animated about certain discussions about, I don't know, it was Big Bazaar or something, and he's very proudly talking about what he's building. And and today I'm comfortable in talking to people, at the Devil's Circuit, I've become the MC, but there is like a fan moment. I don't have the courage to say, I'm a huge fan, right? And I just keep listening and I'm like amazed, like what an amazing individual who's built this business, and he's so passionate. And then, then I come back to India, I get myself in an uncomfortable situation where I become the MC because I couldn't find anyone with speaking with the same conviction of the community outreach. And, I go from 98 kilos to 72 kilos. But what I was getting at is when I was sitting at Food Stories in Delhi a couple of weeks ago, I saw your uncle again. And by the way, he's looking sharp. He's looking fit. And I don't know, is he on SuperYou diet or what's the secret?
Yeah. His views on health and all are very different. He likes to not overcomplicate it. So he's a big foodie.
Oh,
He
okay.
loves, the full family loves food.
Right.
So he'll never be like, I won't eat this, I won't eat that. None of that.
Right.
So he does the basics, he'll do walks, this, that. By the way, he is, if you think I'm competitive, he is hyper level competitive. So when we play table tennis, it always becomes
Till now,
so
even now
intense.
he's-
Even today,
correct.
like you get him to play a game
Right.
and it just becomes like, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. It
Yeah.
just gets so competitive.
Yeah.
My dad is the same, but my dad is a little bit more patient and composed. But then when it comes on, everyone has that switch.
Yeah.
It just becomes like tuck karke, you'll become competitive. So like his granddaughter. So sometimes when we're all playing, he'll come and me and my niece played versus him and this other person.
Right.
And the game got so intense and we were beating them.
Right.
So in the middle, he would start like screaming to scare her and I was like, what is going on? This, that. And it's just a scene, but it's so much fun because of that.
Yeah.
Right? Where everyone's just having the best time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's hyper competitive when it comes to this stuff. And you're right. Like he's, I think someone who's just built something with like insane amount of passion.
Yeah.
So this point that you said about him standing at the store.
Right.
He believes that the power of observation is everything.
Right.
And if you just keep your eyes and ears open, I'll tell you a quick fun story. I was in college. I'd come back, and in the summer you had like 2.5 months, and I thought I'll take initiative and I'll find some course. So this friend of mine found this cool hedge fund manager who was doing this course in LA on finance. मुझे पता भी नहीं what was that course was. I was not even super into finance.
Right.
He told me, let's go. We applied this, that, got into that course. I went and told him once in office that, there's this. I used to go, all summers I used to go to office and just sit. So I told him thinking that I am doing something good. That, there's this course in finance with a hedge fund manager and I'll learn a lot and I'm doing this myself, etc. And he looked at me and he said, and you could see the road from his cabin. And he said, you can just go stand there for 2 hours, keep your eyes and ears open, and you learn more than you learn in 2 months at this course. And at that point, as a 19-year-old or something like that, I was like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, I thought I'm taking initiative and all. And I just didn't understand it, right? And I went back and I was like, in my head, I'm like, ye kya matlab hua and this and that. And then obviously, as you grow older, you realize what that means, right? Which is, if you can just observe everything that's happening around you, you'll get so many insights And I think in the consumer business, this is gold, like gold. So I've seen him, and not only me, like everyone's seen him do this. He would just go to a store and stand and like just stand for like 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever, at the store after the checkout, the cash counters, and he'd just be looking at everyone's bags and trolleys. Like, what kind of bread is this person taking? Which fruits did they take? There was like an insight that watermelons, when people buy watermelons, they don't buy much else because watermelons are so bloody heavy that it's a pain to take back. So like, okay, then how do we solve for it? Right? And this only happens because you're standing there and you're seeing a person struggle to buy a watermelon. So like, can you serve it chopped? Can you do X, Y, Z? And there were so many of these insights that used to come up just because he's looking. Obviously, the beauty of this was that while there's observation, there's also a marriage of that happened with data back in the office. Right? So like, we're seeing, okay, fine, in this store, it seems like more people are buying, let's say, brown bread versus white bread now. And that's interesting because what impact will that have on business? How can you X, Y, Z? And then going back and seeing, okay, what does the data show, right? And if the data is showing the trend that, okay, look, that seems to be correct, then we'll plan the business for being, let's say, able to sell brown bread better, right? So there was this constant, like, just observing everything, and I finally understand what it means to.
So he could have, because of the size at which you operated, he could have very easily outsourced this to MBAs and look at the data on a Monday morning, but he didn't just go with the easy
I think
option, right? So he said, I'm going to go stand 4 or 5 hours, form my own opinion and see whether this actually...
So I don't think he chose.
Right.
I think his being is only such that is what gave him the most amount of joy.
Right.
So it wasn't like, I will do this myself to prove a point. I'm doing this on a Sunday because I could not find a better... I mean, there is no other way to spend a Sunday better than this, right? And that's the POV that he really kind of came from. And then obviously, like, if you see him doing it, then kind of everyone wants to do it, right? So it automatically sets a benchmark for the team and the culture. But I think he didn't do it for that purpose. He did it because that is what, like, and by the way, this is not some switch that goes on and off in a store. We were in Spain. We'd gone for this holiday. I was much younger. I don't remember how old I was. Maybe like 16, 17, something like that. And I still remember this so clearly. It's crazy, okay? So we had gone to a Zara and we had come back out. And there was like this massive thing. And we were just sitting, having an ice cream. Someone's having water. Some people were shopping. So few of us were sitting outside. And obviously the shopping went on for longer. So we were just sitting like this for an hour. I'm thinking, garmi hai, ice cream chahiye, khane mein kya khayenge, when will we go to the beach? These are the only thoughts in my head. And obviously I was a kid. He in that 1 hour has figured out that most men are wearing brown. And brown was the color of the season. And he's taken that insight and at that point only messaged somebody or called somebody in the team saying brown is the color. Because just look around you, everyone seems to be wearing brown, right? So it seems to be the thing in style. And you know, all these examples are just go to show that it's not he's always switched on to this. He's always observing everything. And I have a million examples of this, a million.
What I wanted to ask you is, now you're first time entrepreneur, but this is basically a second innings, right? You were part of the family business. Now you're building something on your own. What's been your biggest learning from that previous life that you are taking forward in your new life?
So 2 ways to answer this. One is on the business front and then just life front. On the business front, we've learned that less is more. So you can do less, but make more out of it. And like focus, team energy, all going towards fewer variables makes life simple. So it's that cliched line of doing things simply is very difficult. But if you can do things simply, I think it makes a massive difference. So I would say that was one really, really big learning. Just keep simplifying the business as much as possible. So when we launched only with one product, food brands typically launch with a few more products across categories. Small team, all effort, all energies, all focused only towards this thing, right? I think on the life front, I don't know, man. This is a long conversation.
Yeah.
There's too many things. One thing would just be like, and again, this is from my uncle a little bit, which is, I like to say that he has infinite optimism. It's infinite. So if you went with the problem, he'd see what's good about it. And all you're seeing is the problem, right? Like, ये नहीं होएगा, नहीं होएगा, नहीं होएगा, ये हो गया, वो हो गया. But like, I don't know how, but वो है.
Right.
And I think that helps because at some point shit is going to get tough.
Yeah.
Like, at some point things are not going to go your way. So I think just that one. And two was how do you cut the unnecessary noise? Because like again, there's so much that happens around you.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what really helps move the needle versus what is just time pass? Because everything that's time pass is mostly taking away from productivity.
Yeah.
And it kind of it can become a deterrent because again the belief is everything compounds.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're doing things that are just they're non-value adding, and if you keep doing them, then it'll compound and it'll probably become a deterrent at some point.
I need to do a master class one-on-one with your uncle because
Yeah.
I just love the one thing that you just spoke about where he looks at things differently. Right? You go with the problem and he's looking at what's good about it. It's amazing. Like what a superstar, right?
Yeah.
So
There was this. I'll tell you a quick story. Is the time thing for me or
No.
Okay, so we'll do 5-7 minutes. So there's this one story where basically while building SuperYou, right, there were a few folks who were talking rubbish about the brand and the product. And they had some views, actually. I shouldn't say rubbish, but they had some views and I didn't agree with them.
Right.
And I was so on the edge throughout because I was just building that I lost 5 kgs in the first 2.5 months.
No way.
All muscle loss.
Right.
Just because I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, all of that. And then like someone would just go and post something and I'd see it and I'm like, what's going on, this, that, right? I'm losing my shit.
Right.
And then I'd go to the
This is
lunch
after the
room.
product was launched?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd go to the lunchroom and Kishore uncle sitting there and it'd be like, ये देखो और किसी अभी ने बोल दिया और अभी निकुंज का stress हो गया and he's laughing.
Right.
And I'm like, what is this, man? I'm not understanding this only. So he told me that there's this line कि अच्छा और बुरा बात की बात है, बात होनी चाहिए. And it's all the same. Like we all know what it means.
Right.
And I realized like there's so much perspective to things. Yeah.
Right.
I once went to him and I said, you know, this brand is saying in their ad that this is better than SuperYou, right? And I was like, dude, you can't do this. This is not okay. This is not allowed. This, that, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I love it. It's good. They should be doing this.
They're talking
more about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, every time you have to do this, sometimes just agree with me. Not just say, this is not okay. But like, you know, that's what I mean. There's always a way, and he knows.
But
he
I think
knows
he's
that that's
right.
the role he's playing as well.
No, because as long as you're being talked about, that's the most important, I think, message
Yeah.
that, you know, you can extract. That's amazing.
But it's an art.
Right.
It's an art.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact that I don't have it.
Right.
You show me negativity and I'll jump right into it. Right? Like, I'm learning now. I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
But it's an art to just be like, think of what the problem is presenting.
Right.
Where's the opportunity within that? What can you do better? This, that. It's a real art. And I think it's a crazy art.
Before we finish, I want to ask Nikunj at 40, right? So today you did an easy workout, you killed it.
Easy?
Yeah. Arjun's complaining about it, you know, he can do more, he's super competitive. What's the one thing that Arjun is going to complain about that you're going to do at 40 that he can't? And I'll tell you what he said for himself after you tell me.
At 40 that I can do that he can't.
Yeah. Or the one thing that you want to do, right, which will you need to play out of your comfort zone to be able to cross that finish line, what would that be, right?
I got a good one. I will be at 40 able to talk lesser than him.
Okay. All right.
Jokes aside,
Yeah.
though, he's a beast when it comes to this stuff, man. He's like very, very fit. So at 40, if I can keep up with him, because I know he will.
So he said that he wants to do a triathlon. He's not good with swimming in open waters, and he wants to get over that challenge and do it. So that's him at 40. So what
I'll still play football better than him.
no, man, that's. I mean, I can't pass a comment till I see both of you and
Yeah.
play against both of you. But perhaps you do, perhaps you don't. But
Okay, so my personal thing, I want to go pro at some sport.
pickleball,
If it's pickleball at 40, I want that feeling of pulling up those socks,
Right.
those professional socks,
Right.
removing that racket from that bag, spraying some relish spray or something,
Right.
and walking onto the court and get that nervous feeling of playing a proper game.
and have the
So-
India flag
Yeah,
on your jersey somewhere.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So like I want that feeling. I don't know if he would ever intend to go that deep into one sport or the other, but I definitely would love to
And
do
50?
that. At 50, man,
It's
just-
not that far, yeah, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm 33.
Yeah.
I'm not,
So if I flip my age, I'm 2 years older than you.
yeah, exactly. But if at 50 I can do 80-90% of what you're doing,
Yeah.
I'll be super proud of myself.
No, I'm sure you will. You'll do more than what I'm doing today. I think, like I said, the kind of stuff you're making, and you spoke about 5 other products already in the pipeline.
Yeah.
In addition to the wafer that you've launched. Hopefully, people like me and people like you who are looking for better food, better snacks, we'll have more options and we
Yeah.
can become fitter and stronger. But when you get to 50, like, the one thing that I was supposed to do last year, which I couldn't do, was a triathlon myself. So, what is Nikunj going to be doing at 50?
So I can't say the same answer, na? Of
You shouldn't say the
pro.
same answer. You should. I mean, you don't know what he said, no? Because he said something else at 50. He told
No,
me.
I want to be doing the same thing. Trust me, the joy I get out of just being able to go on that court,
Right.
any court, any
Right.
pitch, any turf, just
Right.
play properly, that feeling is next level. So in fact, touch wood, my ACL, VCL, everything is in place and I'm able to go pro and play.
So that's your 10-year culmination of your professional.
At 40, at 50, both. If I'm
Yeah.
doing that, I'll be like super happy.
Great. So I guess. Yeah. So by the way, are we doing this workout again tomorrow morning?
Is this a prank all of a sudden?
Yes or no? Are we doing this again tomorrow morning? Yes or no?
Not tomorrow morning.
Not tomorrow morning. So if you don't want me to come tomorrow morning, you got to look in the camera and tell them to like, comment, and share the pressure room.
To share the pressure room.
The pressure room.
Guys, please like, comment, and share the pressure room. And while you're doing it, do it for SuperYou also. While you're at it.
Nice. Also, is there any one friend that you want to recommend to be part of this, right? So we're looking for people who inspire, people who take health and fitness a little seriously.
Yeah.
People who are happy to play out of their comfort zones like you did today.
Yeah.
Because the idea was not you coming and beating me or me beating you. It was both of us punching above our weight.
Yeah.
So who's that one person you want to
Does it
invite?
have to be like an entrepreneur? Or?
Could be anyone. You can invite.
Okay. So this friend of mine, Amit, he's an entrepreneur as well.
Right.
He's just started like in the last 3-4 years properly getting into it. He's an Arsenal fan, by the way. So I'd probably recommend getting him on board.
Yeah,
Because
there's a lot of
by the way,
banter.
he runs Stay Vista.
Okay.
So you will get the best
Oh, okay, yeah.
locations and
Done.
all for that.
So
So, yeah,
the
awesome.
founder of Stay Vista is invited next. And yeah, so I just want to say, Nikunj, thank you so much. You've been an absolute star. What
So
an amazing
super fun,
conversation.
man.
Yeah. And we have a little gift for you, by the way, which you can take to your home, your office. And
this is super cool, huh?
I think this is perhaps you at 40, not today, but this is for you.
Oh man, this is super cool.
Yeah. So, gotta-
I'm gonna keep this in my office.
Yeah.
I survived the pressure room, and I'm
yeah,
gonna
so at the
tell
pressure
my-
room, there it is. There's the
Let's
an amazing
should we get
guest.
a photo?
Yeah.